Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. We're continuing our Emmy Contenders chats, and joining us today from the new Twilight Zone, Sanaa Lathan.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to say that this Twilight Zone, which is, you just told me, first one that was produced from this new reboot, third episode, it's just like an instant classic.
I love that.
It's like why we love the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do with like a reboot, because they've tried to like do this show again.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked. This one worked.
Yeah, I was, when I got the script, I was so intrigued because it was the Twilight Zone, which I used to watch when I was growing up, and also that coupled with Jordan Peele, who I think is one of the most exciting filmmakers out right now. I was so eagerly anticipating reading the script, and I gotta say, it was one of the best written scripts I've read in a long time, from the character development to the timeliness of the plot to the emotional journey of the character. So for me, it was kind of like a dream come true as an actress, because it's like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, they come few and far between.
I feel like this Twilight Zone, and again, we're talking like it has that feel of the classic thing.
Yeah.
That there's like an unstoppable force, which a lot of Twilight Zone episodes had, like some characters trying to get away from something that is just unrelenting.
Exactly.
And then a really strong social message too, looking at society and critiquing society.
Yes, and that's the thing that I think was so great about the original, is that it was so entertaining and so edge of your seat thrilling, and yet it would kind of haunt you with a moral question at the end. And they were all kinds of moral questions. And with this one, I mean, we're putting a lens up to, you know, racial profiling that's happening every day. And it's scary and it's sad. It's especially scary for Black people, Black men in particular. And, but I also think that the story is universal, because it's about, you know, I play a mother who's taking her son to his first day of college, and it's the emotional journey of this woman trying to save her son. And I think, you know, no matter what race you are, no matter where you are in the world, everybody can identify with a parent's or a mother's love for their child, and doing anything you can to, you know, make sure they, make sure they survive.
Yeah, it starts off, the episode starts off in kind of that universal sense that the mother that you play is just kind of trying to, she's grieving a little bit that her son is going off to school and leaving her.
Empty nest.
That's universal.
Yes.
For sure. But then she and her son have to start dealing with this police officer.
Yes.
Who will not stop.
Will not stop.
I mean, they're trying to get to college.
Right.
Which isn't that far away. But there's this roadblock.
Yep.
And it's, you know, you could look at that as a metaphor. It's a societal roadblock.
Yeah, it's so true.
That is in their way and will not move.
It will not move, and it's like a true nightmare, in that, you know, no matter where you turn, no matter what, you know, she uses this camcorder, this old camcorder that she has discovered pretty early on can rewind time for her. So she's using the camcorder to escape this situation, and no matter where he turns, it's still gonna happen. And it's kind of like, you know, it deals with questions of like, is there fate, is there destiny, you know, in our lives, and are we able to really have agency in terms of getting out of these types of situations? So many questions.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of rewinding.
Yes.
What did, when you read the script, and it's like it's a real full meal. I mean, so you were stoked as an actor, like this is, what really resonated for you, like?
So for me, as you know, one of the things that I just, you know, I tell my agents and I just dream about is I want to be challenged. You know, I come from the theater, I'm trained, I've done millions of plays, I've worked on some of the greatest writing from Shakespeare, you know, to new writers in theater, and I just want to be challenged in film. And this was kind of one of those dream come true kind of roles, in that it was not only such a, you know, you're going on this emotional journey of this woman, and she has to do every color emotionally, because it's this woman who's, you know, fighting for her son's life. But then the way that we shot it, it was almost interesting, kind of like an acting exercise. I was so lucky to work with Damson Idris, who's actually a British actor. He has the most amazing American accent, but he was such a great partner, because we had to do basically everything out of order.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like, okay, we're at the beginning of the episode, but then the next scene we're doing is like right after he shoots him. And then you have to go back to the beginning, but you're in the emotional state of here, you know? So it was really jumping all over the place like we always do, but like, you know, it was on steroids for this shoot.
Right, you're starting off the scene, I think it's the first scene is in a diner, right?
Yes.
So you're starting off there and then trying to get to college.
Right.
But then you keep going back to
Keep
the
going
diner. So you
back.
probably shot like all the diner scenes
Exactly.
in one
Shot the diner
day
scenes
or
in
a
the
couple
first
days,
couple
or-
days.
Yeah.
So it was like diving straight in.
And every time you go back to that diner, your character has had
It's a
freaking nightmare
nightmare
of an
that
experience.
happened that nobody else has seen. So
Yeah.
it's like jumping.
Yeah. And
Jumping.
and her son's like, "Are you okay?"
Exactly.
Right? Like, what just happened here?
Right.
You know, or what are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about the episode is, I mean, there's so many things, but one of them is the relationship with the police officer. Because she has to find a way to get around him. And
Yes.
one of the ways that she chooses, and I don't think I'm going too deep into spoiler land,
Yeah.
because you know a lot of people still haven't seen this.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? But
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. But one of the ways she tries to connect with him as a human being.
Yes.
This is who I am, and she
Who are
asks,
you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Which
and
I
what
found,
what do
yeah.
we have in common?
Right.
Yeah.
I found that really moving.
Yeah.
And smart. Like she's trying. She's trying to meet him where he's at.
Yeah. You're human. I'm human too. Don't you see? My son is human.
Right. And it turns out he has, as every human being does, he has
Yep.
issues. He has a thing that he's struggling with.
Yes.
But yeah, it doesn't quite
Quite
pan
work out.
You know, because it wouldn't be quite the same drama if it did.
Exactly.
But I love that she made the effort, because
Yeah.
it showed like, okay, well, this is what you can do. What what we should be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's what makes, all art isn't conscious raising. All art is, sometimes it's, there's value in just simple entertainment, especially in the stressful world that we're living in. But I just find that art that kind of gets you thinking and holds a mirror up to society is the most exciting, especially in this day and age. And it seems to be Jordan's thing.
Yeah.
That's his thing. And Twilight Zone was doing it before anybody was doing it.
Right. Right.
With an addictive kind of entertaining,
Right. Well, when it was on, Rod Serling wanted to tackle a lot of these, social issues. But back then, it was like, no, you can't talk about that. You can't be direct. So he wanted to use science fiction and fantasy as a way of getting at some of these truths.
And sometimes I think that's better, because then you don't feel like you're, hit over the head with something.
Right.
It comes naturally.
Right. Yeah, the actor who played the police officer.
Yes, Glenn Fleshler.
You knew him.
Yeah.
Which I guess works, right?
He's so great. You know what's so
He's
funny?
such an awful character.
I know, he's such an awful character, and we go way back. I was so excited to see him. We did Shakespeare in the Park together years ago, right after I got out of school. And so it was great to have, he was such he was so scary and so intimidating, and yet he's a big teddy bear in
Yeah.
real life. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
nice to have to go to those scary emotional places and yet still have, somebody who's cool when you call cut.
When did you find out he was cast and you'd be acting?
When I got on the set.
It was like Glenn?
Yes, it was so cool.
Yeah, because I hated that character.
Yeah.
So much. Especially after that scene that I'm just talking about. Where
Yeah.
it's like, your character went, she tried.
She tries. She
Yeah.
tried and just,
And then he's just the worst.
yeah, he is the worst.
But again, it just is like that classic Twilight Zone character of the force that cannot be stopped.
No matter what you do.
But another aspect that I really liked about the episode too is when and again, I think we're just kind of skirting spoiler land here.
I know.
So that's cool. But the scenes with the brother, she's been.
Well, see, that's one of the things that, when I talk to the writer, this is why I love this script so much, is that there's so many things going on. One of the things that she had to do in order to move forward is to make peace with her past. So he even layered that in there. So
Yeah.
because she had run away from home. She didn't want to look back. And in order for her to save her son, she had to go back to where she came from and make peace with it and make peace with her family, which
Right.
I think is a beautiful message,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's set up kind of early on because that's in trying to get her son to college. That's one of the ways that she could be to go back through her past. But
Exactly.
I love those scenes with the brother. And you're trying to explain this just
Right.
really weird, far out situation to him. And, with the magical camcorder and such.
Yeah.
But
and he believes me. That's the
yeah,
thing that's so
yeah, yeah.
nice.
But it's like it comes down to, well, there's this police officer who's following us. And then, he says, I get it. I believe you.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to keep talking.
Right.
That was powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been more unbelievable. And he believed her.
Right. But I love that. It
Steve
speaks
Harris,
to
he's amazing.
Yeah, it speaks to family. It speaks to that connection, but it also speaks to the reality of Black lives.
Yep.
Too. And he says later on, they will always come. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those scenes are really powerful. And then, it sets up this great ending, which that's one thing we won't
give away.
get
And it's
into.
very Twilight Zone, right?
It's very Twilight Zone. There's a couple of endings because
Yeah.
there's the ending at the school.
And
But
then
there's an
the
ending.
It's almost
that
like a
makes-
prologue. What, prologue or?
Epilogue.
Epilogue.
Yeah.
Epilogue, yes.
Yeah. Where it's like, well,
And they never leave you, it's like every Twilight Zone, it never leaves you comfortable. You have to
Right.
be a little bit like, oh man, it leaves
Right.
that little kind of question mark, that chilling. It gave me chills.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great ending because it speaks again. It's another. So there's three things: the force, the social issues, and then the ending. Because that it doesn't leave you comfortable. Because if it did, it would be basically saying these problems can be easily
Yes.
solved.
Yeah.
You
Like
know.
tying it up in a bow, but that's
Right.
not life. That's not what
Right.
we're going through now.
Right. What were the Twilight Zone episodes when you watched them in syndication? What were the ones that
Well,
you
I was
really
like a
enjoyed?
little bookworm when I was coming
Yeah.
up, and do you remember the one with the guy who had the really thick, like Coke bottle eyeglasses?
Sure, yeah.
And he wanted everybody to go away and read, and then it was like the end of the world. Everybody died, and he was alone with his books. And then
Time Enough at Last.
Is that what it's
yes.
called?
I think so, yeah.
and his glasses broke. I mean, that just it bothered me so much as a bookworm, as a little
Right.
kid,
Right.
That one, and then the one, is it called Eye of the Beholder? The one where
I think so, yeah.
they're saying that this woman was just so disgustingly ugly, and
She's getting surgery.
she gets surgery, and then they take her off, and everybody looks like pig people or something, and
Right.
she looks like Grace Kelly, and they're like, oh, she's so ugly.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's so I think that that's like so interesting, especially in today's society with all the plastic surgery and social media, where everybody's kind of encouraged to look like this certain perfect or strange thing, you know? It's really just conditioning. There is no, standard for beauty. Like it really should be in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. Not too many episodes of TV, like 6 decades later, that hold up like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true.
It'd be nice if this one that you're in,
Yeah.
like we're talking about, I think so.
That would be great.
But that's like the timelessness of some of the themes that they're dealing with. You know, it's funny because we were talking about that. We had Adam Scott in, who was in the Nightmare at 30,000 Feet, and he mentioned the book episode 2. I was thinking about that, like after the Time Enough at Last.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's the Time Enough at Last.
He seemed to kind of happy that, like, he seemed too okay with the fact that everyone died, though.
Yeah, that's why he got. It's called karma.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, you know.
All right, you got your karma.
I have my books now.
Selfish.
But yeah. So those were the ones. Those are like a couple of classics.
Those are the ones that just come to mind.
Yeah. Okay, we're asking everyone who comes in some lightning round questions. What is the last show you binge watched?
Killing Eve.
Okay, like that one?
Love it. I love Sandra Oh, and I love her co-star. What's her co-star's name?
Oh man,
you guys
don't put.
Yes,
Jodie Comer.
Jodie Comer, fabulous.
Okay, what classic TV show would you like to have been on?
Twilight Zone.
You've already done it.
I've already done it.
You've already done it. Okay. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Oh, Well, I used to be a telemarketer when I first got out of school. I used to have to sell, call people, cold call, and sell them like conference room space. That was horrible. People they're never happy to hear from a telemarketer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What has you more excited, The Sopranos prequel or the Breaking Bad sequel? They're both.
I think it's a tie.
Yeah.
I'm excited for both of those.
Impossible to choose. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Okay. I'm so excited that they're happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank
you.
Okay.